It's like the bagel you just ate. You can't eat wheat and sugar directly. You got to get someone to do the bagel for you.
Well, if I get hungry enough, I can eat wheat and sugar directly.
No, you can't eat wheat.
Hello, and welcome to episode 11 of JoomCast, the podcast that features people who are part of the Joomla community and discovers how they got here, what they contribute to Joomla, where they're going, and a whole bunch more. My name is Tim Davis of CyberSalt and the Basic Joomla Tutorials YouTube channel, and I'm here with my co-host Chetan Madaan of JoomDev, who are behind Asteroid Framework for Joomla and the newly released page builder for Joomla, JD Builder. Hi, Chetan.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I am doing fine. It's another 9 o'clock in the morning start for me, but I got better sleep, and as you can see on the channel, I just finished eating a bagel, so I'm all ready to go.
Sleep on time?
Yes, actually, I went to bed at a good time. Thank you for asking. I'm sure everyone's happy to know that.
For those of you who don't know about Joomla, Joomla is a very popular CMS or a content management system for building supersonic websites. As of today's recording date, Joomla is running version 3.9.12 stable. And for Joomla 4, we have the version Alpha 13 as of last night. And the beta version for Joomla 4 is about to be released in November, Anibal says, whom you are going to be listening to in about 30 seconds. Joomla 4, which is the next big version, is expected to probably release somewhere around early next year. Do I have that right, Tim?
I hope so, because you said it now. I'm sure because you said it, it will be out in that time.
Just because so.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. We want to hear from you. You can contact us on Twitter at JoomCast, or if you're listening to us on Anchor.fm, you can push the send a message button and leave a voice comment up to a minute long. We might even include your comment in a future episode, although nobody's ever left a comment, so maybe we should stop saying that. People, send us a comment. Let's meet our guest for today. Anibal Sanchez is a technology geek with a pinch of an entrepreneur. Anibal is the team leader of Exley Tech, where he helps businesses in development of modern web solutions, applying rapid web development, DevOps processes, quality assurance practices, and project management methodologies. Anibal currently contributes to the Joomla community as a member of the leadership team and JED's team leader.
For those of you who don't know, JED is Joomla Extensions Directory. Anibal, welcome to JoomCast.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Chetan. How are you?
So, Anibal, tell us about yourself. Give us a little glimpse of your personal and professional life.
Well, you know that I'm currently living in Spain, but I am actually from Argentina. I was born in Buenos Aires. I started working there, developing software and creating. I have a computer degree from the University of Buenos Aires, so I am a scientist, but I never worked as a scientist. There in Argentina, I sold a system for enterprises, a business process management system. And after some years, I become bored of this kind of enterprise development, and I moved to a different career path in open source. Working with Joomla,
right,
around 2005. And from there, I started developing extension, providing consulting services for Joomla.
Now, how did you end up with Joomla specifically? You said you were looking for a thing in open source. What's your Joomla story?
I was quite interested at that time, the whole scene of open source and what was happening or how it developed, growing at that time. And Joomla, I don't know, I compare a lot of CMSs at that time, but I think that Joomla was my favorite. And it has been my favorite since then. And I started creating websites, and at some point around 2012, I started creating extensions and funding a company to create extensions and provide solutions with Joomla.
And before that, you were working in an enterprise job, and you said you got bored?
Yeah. I think that working with big companies and that kind of solutions, it's the corporate sphere, the corporate people are, you have to work, for example, 1 year to create a proposal. And after you present the proposal, you have a second year trying to start the project. You never know what's going to happen next, and if going to be more delays in the project. Just to start and do a kickoff, and after the kickoff, you have 1 year of work trying to create a solution. No, it's impossible to work in that way, and I prefer to work, in the internet and creating open source software and with a different dynamic between the clients and the team.
You said you started programming extensions in 2012. What was the first extension that you made?
I think that the first extension I made was translation for Home Social.
Okay.
Home Social, an extension to install a language. That was my first extension.
Okay, and what language was that?
In Spanish, of course.
Exactly. So what are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on in Joom?
For example, I am working with for the news agency, a governmental news agency for San Juan province in Argentina. I'm working from Spain for San Juan, and this site started with a small site just to publish a few news. But with time, after several years, I think that right now we are reaching 50% of the population of the province. And we have to recently move the site to a cloud in Amazon. And I think that it is gaining a lot of users.
Now, Anibal, you're interested in renewing Joomla with innovative technologies. What do you mean by that, and what does that look like?
Well, I'm not a classic Joomla developer. I like to, combine technologies. I think that I'm always trying to innovate, adding new stuff and combining different technology. For example, I'm trying to create, a template with Tailwind right now. At this, to drop Bootstrap and replace the whole front end with Tailwind and, Vue or creating web services with Laravel. I think that there's a lot of room to improve our current technology. But I think in all the projects that I work, I try to innovate in that way, trying to implement new libraries or new technologies to improve the practice.
For those like me who don't know what Tailwind is, what is Tailwind? I've heard of Laravel, but I'm still not even sure what Laravel is. But go ahead. What is it?
Anibal, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a front-end CSS and HTML pack. It's like Bootstrap Tailwind, right?
Well, Bootstrap, that it's the first CSS framework that it's the most popular framework.
Everyone loved, right?
Yeah. The problem with Bootstrap is that Bootstrap, it's a big framework. It has a lot of stuff there. You are not always using everything. We can say that on most websites, we only use 10% of Bootstrap. And that's a price that we have to pay if we have, for example, only mobile users. That today, for example, 90% of the users of a website are mobile users. So we can say that our websites with Bootstrap serve a lot of megabytes of styling that is not actually used.
That's not needed, right? That's not needed for the mobile users, right?
Yeah. So the new CSS frameworks like Tailwind, they try to improve the development workflow, the design workflow to optimize the final result. So you create styles for a website, for a specific website. You don't serve the whole framework to everyone.
Okay, so the site loads faster.
Yeah, but in that case, you have to accept a different development workflow because at the end, we are trying to compile the stuff before delivering.
Right. So it's not as simple as Bootstrap where you just include a CSS and JavaScript and you're good to go, right? You have to specify what you need and build it unique to per website or per template and only use that, right?
Yeah. That's
Now, Anibal, does that require that all of Joomla run on Tailwind, or is it you just would be like installing a framework and using a different template?
The main idea is that where you compile the template is not the same server that delivers the final result. So you have two phases. You need one development phase and one and the other delivering phase. Let's say that.
Right.
Oh, so
right.
would your site be in two different places in a sense then?
Yeah. You have. Here, for example, I have the computer where I create the template, the stuff for development. At the end, I compile the template and deliver the template, for example, in my blog.
It's like the bagel you just ate. You can't eat wheat and sugar directly. You got to get someone to do the bagel for you.
Yeah.
If I get hungry enough, I can eat wheat and sugar directly.
No, you can't eat wheat. Let me ask you this, Anibal. So I'm glad Tim talked about this with the Tailwind. I was having a discussion with my designer the other day, and we were talking about Joomla is now including Bootstrap 4 for a lot longer period of time. Joomla has been on the older version of Bootstrap. I think the Joomla 3 version runs Bootstrap 2 or 3, whatever the legacy version is, right? And now at this point, Bootstrap 4 is like the active version, which is being mostly developed and very powerful and stuff. In the next version of Joomla is including that, but by next year, Bootstrap is releasing Bootstrap 5. Okay?
Yeah.
So I was talking to, we were discussing internally with my designer here, Chandan, who said, shouldn't Joomla not include Bootstrap at all? Shouldn't Joomla just let it be, let the template developer decide what framework their template is built on? Because a lot of template providers already seem to do that. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question. There is no different answer. I think that Bootstrap, is the popular framework, but if you really want to provide a great experience for all users, I think you have to implement something else. We can't stick anymore with Bootstrap, because Bootstrap right now is like a prototyping framework. It's better for prototype and interface, so to create a mockup, but it's not the right framework to provide 100 performance experience.
Exactly.
A user experience that is really, for example, perfect for a mobile device. In some way, we have to use frameworks that allow us to create that kind of experiences for users. Something that you can really access from a mobile. I say, wow, that's fast.
Now, of course, if Joomla is going to offer a default template, you're going to have some system.
Yeah, of course. But the point is what really matters for a mobile user. If you are going to access from a mobile device, most of the time you are just checking the first content, a photo, an image, some icons, and a text, and nothing more. You don't need the rest of the stuff that you are delivering. So the really big question is how we can, rebuild the components, the modules, the plugins, and everything else to create that kind of experiences without thinking in terms of Bootstrap.
Bootstrap has done a great job, showing everyone how it's done. Like the grid is very powerful and everyone is doing their own grid, and they have the buttons, they have the message. But like other providers, what if Joomla could come up with their own very simple grid system, all right, which could be responsive? So because that's what you need. You basically just need a grid for it to be responsive. You don't need anything else, right? The content is decided by the user. What if Joomla could come up with a very small CSS file, that's the grid, and even that you decide if you want to include it in your template. If not, the layout is all dependent on the template. The default templates will have their styling, like they do right now, but can live really, very well without Bootstrap. Because again, next year when Joomla 4 comes in, it's going to have Bootstrap 4.3, but we are still going to fall behind. As soon as Bootstrap 5 comes out, we are going to be far behind. And let's say the lifetime of Joomla 4 is 2 years. Obviously, I don't think they're going to change it so that it starts to include Bootstrap 5 as well. I don't think they haven't done it in Bootstrap 3, Joomla 3. So they have not included Bootstrap 4.3, and that is to be included only in Joomla 4. So until the end of Joomla 4, I don't think we're going to have Bootstrap 5. Or maybe we do, but all I'm trying to say is we are including a hard-coded version in the Joomla release, and the problem is when the newer version comes in, we are falling behind.
Yes, but you know that in the upcoming Bootstrap 4, the core version of Bootstrap is not going to be a mandate. It's going to be a mandatory requirement. You have it there if you want to include it, but if you want to avoid the framework, it's going to be easier than today. You don't have to deliver in the front end Bootstrap 4. In fact, right now, for example, I have my blog. I have this Tailwind template. I am not actually delivering Bootstrap. I am only delivering the Tailwind. I avoided all the core stuff. I am only delivering the Tailwind framework. So it can be done. You can create web experience for mobile users without using Bootstrap right now. With but I think that the point is how the community wants to do it. The problem is that we are saying, okay, the core has this Bootstrap framework, and everyone else has to use it. So that's the definition. But I think that we need to change that kind of protocol of based definitions to define a different way to interact between the components, the modules, and without defining that Bootstrap is the default. We could say, okay, the new default are going to be web components. So each one has to define their own styles, and okay, that's it. No more core framework definitions. But that's a definition that someone has to take.
Anibal, where do you see Joomla in 5 years from now?
Well, good question.
We only try to ask good questions.
Yeah. I think that we are going to grow in that direction. We were talking about the question is how leave the Bootstrap ecosystem and try to build some front for mobile experiences based on Joomla technology.
So as far as the growth of Joomla is concerned, you review all the extensions that are submitted to the Joomla extensions directory, right? You don't review them personally, but you are the leaders. You're the leader for the team that reviews it.
Yeah. We are a team working with the extension reviews, answering tickets, and
extension submissions as well, right?
Yeah. Extension submissions. Yeah.
Are there any insights you could give us? Have you seen like increase in extension submissions or decrease in extension submissions? Does the Joomla extension actually has like 8,000 extensions from like 2 years ago, or has that number gone up? Are more people abandoning their extensions? Do you think you could answer any of those?
Well, from the Jet's perspective, I think that we are in the transition from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4. So there is a kind of expectation in the middle this year because people are in the transition between one version to the next version. I think that most of the directory extensions were created a couple of years ago because we have. So I think in this transition from one version to the next one to be enforcing new rules, we have thousand extension, but we only use a few extensions. So we need to focus on the high quality extension that we have, I think, and try to migrate them from the old version to the new version. That's the transition we are doing today.
Would the JED ever purge extensions that would only work in version 1 or 2, or does the JED do that regularly?
Yeah, we did that. I know when around 2015 or 16. Yeah, we did that.
So anything that doesn't work on Joomla 2.5 or 3 was gotten rid of, right?
Yeah. So I think that in 2 years from now, 3.
Let's talk about Joomla 4 for it. Are you excited about Joomla 4?
Yeah. I think that Joomla 4 is going to be an opportunity to renew the whole ecosystem, because you know that a lot of extensions were created for desktop navigation. And today we are in a very different environment. You know, mobile users are the rule. So we need to recreate all extensions for mobile users.
Why are you excited about Joomla 4?
Because Joomla 4, you know that you have, for example, web services. You have this decoupling between the front end and the back end. So you can change and put a different template and a different web experience from what is served by default in the core. So you can create a whole new web experience.
Let me comment on web services. Now understand, I'm not trying to give you a tough time. I'm just trying to have a healthy conversation so someone listening can actually get some insight on what's going on in the Joomla community.
Sure.
The web services, the end user doesn't care about web services, right?
Of course.
The end user doesn't care. So are the end users of Joomla developers, or are they end website owners, or who are they?
I think that we have to redefine what is an end user, because we are not having the same end users than we had 14 years ago when Joomla started.
Of course.
At the beginning, the only choice to create a web experience was Joomla or WordPress or another CMS. There wasn't any other alternative to create a web experience. Right now, at this time, you have a lot of ways to create web experiences. You can create a Facebook page, an Instagram page. I don't know. You can use Shopify.
You can do Google sites, Squarespace, a lot. Right. So the number of options has increased a lot. Yes, Wix is there.
I think that the original, I think that for us, we focus our effort to provide a great experience developers with the right tools. So for me, that kind of is for mobile users, mainly because I'm working as a consultant for companies. The point I think that you are asking is if you are trying to serve Joomla for the same users as before. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but right now, for me, the question is, the answer is that we are using Joomla to create modern web experiences.
I think it's like a bus as well. Most of the people getting on the bus, we describe them all as end users. They don't know what's gone into some of the technology or safety systems on the bus. But if there's a safety system that can be aware of when the driver falls asleep and it stops the bus, that's pretty good to have on the bus, regardless of the fact that no one's thinking that it should be there. So you need to have some good stuff in the basis. And what's important for Joomla, whether we ever become number one or anything like that, if we don't have people riding on the bus, people aren't going to put their time into developing things for the bus, and everyone's going to hop on the train. So we have to have that balance between the good stuff that's current, so that everyone that's developing and making a living from Joomla and wants to do things with Joomla can use it. And then, of course, the end goal is to drive the bus a lot of places and pick up a lot of people along the way.
For example, if you want to create a modern experience, you need talent, with the skills. Sometimes you need to start talking about Tailwind, Vue, Laravel, and stuff to receive new talent, new users that they like to hear that kind of words. Because, for example, you have to create a multilingual content management system. How are you going to create a multilingual site in 1 week? You have to do it with Joomla, but you have to combine that technology with the modern stuff.
As you can tell, Chetan is tough cop, I'm nice cop. So I'm going to grab the wheel of the bus here, and I'm going to switch things up and ask you this question. What is something that you learned later in life that you would go back and tell a younger you? If you could,
I will tell him to trust in technology, because you know that I started creating software for DOS in a Texas Instrument computer a lot of years ago. I started, and with time I think that it was not going to last. But today I realized that after years and years, we have internet and we have mobile devices, and you don't know where we're going to end. So I think that we need to trust more in technology that on a daily basis.
Now, you work alone, Anibal, or like in your company, or are there more people?
We have a company. Yes, I have a partner, my spouse, Andrea. She worked with me in Nextly. We create these mobile experiences, web technology, and that kind of stuff. Andrea, she's also the co-host of Mastermind with Carlos.
oh, okay. I've heard her voice. I've never understood a thing that she says, but
Yeah. We are the company, and we have several collaborators here in Spain. And
Now that brings us to rapid fire. Tim's going to fire up a few questions to you, and you'll have under 5 seconds to answer those.
yeah.
although it never works that way. Other than the usual suspects, name a favorite extension.
JReviews extension.
Do you say JReviews?
JReviews. Yeah.
It's a very old extension, and it's a good one. Yeah.
What is an extension you would like to see developed that doesn't exist now?
Gutenberg for Joomla.
Oh, Gutenberg for Joomla. Okay. What is one thing that you'd like to change in Joomla, assuming you were in charge?
I would like to change the way that the core team picks the technology that they include in the core. Because sometimes it seems that in Joomla we have to redo and re-implement everything to put it in the core, even if it is created by someone else. For example, I'm very happy if the core moves to Laravel.
What's something you like or love about Joomla?
I love the people that manages they are volunteers that do a great effort to the structure organization living, and we need to work more for Joomla and keep it running.
Name someone who contributes a lot to Joomla.
I think that I already mentioned Carlos Cámara. Carlos Cámara is a great local volunteer here in Spain. He's always helping the community, the Hispanic community. You know the podcast Mastermind. So yeah.
Yes, he has a Spanish podcast, and also he was the first person we interviewed. And when we asked him who was someone that contributed a lot to Joomla, do you know who he mentioned? I don't remember either, but it wasn't you. Well, that's the end of Rapid Fire.
Is there anything you'd like to tell us that we didn't ask?
No, I think that the
Perhaps your server logins?
What?
Nothing.
I don't know what to say.
Okay, we asked everything.
Yeah.
Passport number and everything else. So
No.
That's good then. That means we've done our job. How can people reach out to you if they want to contact you?
You can contact me via my blog, my personal blog. You can use Twitter or on my company site. I'm always around. So.
And what's your Twitter handle?
Anibal.Sanchez.
ANIBAL.SANCHEZ in Canada, Z in other parts of the world. We'll put all that information in the show notes. Anibal, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
It was great hanging out with you.
And thanks for everything that you're doing, working on the JED, and for your contribution to Joomla and all of our lives.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Chetan. And it has been a pleasure.
All right, Chetan, that takes care of number 11.
Yeah, I never thought we'd make it this far.
Oh, you say that every week. You're such a Debbie Downer. JoomCast is recorded live on locations. This week it was Spain, India, and Canada, using Zoom, Audacity, and a giant can of Flexi Seal. If you want to reach Chetan personally, his Twitter handle is @Chetan Madaan, ChetanMad, Madaan. And if you want to reach me, Tim Davis, you can reach me at Basic Joomla. Reach out to us on at JoomCast as well. Until the next time, enjoy your Joomla sites.
And God bless.